guys, how are you? Ryan Pringle with the Pringle team of Keller Williams. Thanks for coming back and taking a look at our channel again. Today's video, we are going to be talking about 3 very important tips for buyers and sellers in a changing market. We are in a market that is shifting right now. It's not what it was 3 months ago, and it's not going to be 3 months from now what it is right now. So I'm going to give you 3 tips for buyers and sellers that will work in a changing market to help get houses sold and deals put together or stay together. So number 1, first tip is, I know a lot of sellers want to keep their prices high, where they were. You have to adjust prices a little bit. The market's changing, there's going to be shifts, there's going to be adjustments you're going to need to make. But one way that you can lure buyers in or keep a buyer in a deal is buying down the rate for the buyer rather than reducing the price of the house. So since January, rates have jumped up by about 3%. Now they settled down a little bit this past week, but we're still looking at rates that are about 2.5 points higher than where they were. This has really affected buyers' affordability and made it a lot more difficult for them to afford properties. So one of the things as a seller you can do to help that buyer get into the deal and at the price that you want to get them in at is offer to buy the rate down. So there's several different options that you can do, but you can buy a rate down for 1 year, 2 year, 3 years. You can do a 2-1 buy down. And basically what this means is, so you could pay some money up front to the lender, and this will bring a rate from, say, instead of being 5.5, you can bring it down to 4.5 or even 3.5 for the first year. And then after that, it'll go to 4.5. And then for the life of the loan after that, it'll go back up to the 5.5 rate. This is a really good option to get a buyer in because let's be real, there's a very good chance, especially if we see a recession, which it looks like we are, even though the Biden administration might say we're not. Okay. But that's not necessarily a bad thing because if there is a recession, we will see rates probably tick down a little bit more. We saw them come down about 0.5 point last week, which is great. So you're down in the low to mid 5s now. So get them into the property at that lower rate, and then they can always refi. There's no prepay on any of these loans typically. So you can refi the property 2-3 years down the road if the rates are better, which there's a good chance that they might be sometime in the near future. So really good way to just get in the house at an affordable number to allow you to afford the payment for that first couple of years until you can refi the property. Tip number 2. So this one is mainly targeted at my buyers. So you're buying a property. I know a lot of buyers are freaking out right now. They're saying, should I buy right now? Why don't I just wait till prices go down? Well, let me give you a tip. I've seen this in the stock market lately. I'm a buy the dip stock market investor. So I like to buy when nobody else is interested in buying. That's when I like to buy. It's a good rule for real estate too. Unfortunately, a lot of investors now are buying the dip. Investors have gotten a lot more savvy. So retail investors have gotten a lot more savvy. So you're seeing dips and then it's coming right back up. So for you buyers that are wanting to just time the market perfectly, first of all, in 28 years of doing this, I realized it's really difficult to time the market exactly. It can be done, but it's very, very difficult. So what I would say is take advantage of less competition right now. It's not like it was 3 months ago where you were having to compete against 40 other buyers on a single property, and there was 25 offers and you had to do all these crazy things. A lot less competition right now. So take advantage of that. And part of that, like I said, is because the rates are a little bit higher. But take advantage of that. Get into a property. If you have to refi it down the road, great. There's no prepay on most of these loans. So you can just refi it in a couple years, get that better rate, because I know buyers are thinking, well, what if rates get better? So you can always buy and refi later on. Take advantage of less competition. And now, I'm not saying just buy any deal, because as you all know, I've said it many times on this channel, it's never the wrong time to buy the right deal. You're going to need to make sure you're buying it right, but there's a lot less competition right now, so there's a lot better chance that you're going to be able to buy it right now if you do it now before things start to turn back around. So that's strategy number 2. Works great in a market that is changing a little bit. And there's even some great opportunities where some sellers are going to be freaking out. It's a little like 2A bonus tip. Some sellers are going to freak out that their house isn't selling, and for whatever reason, maybe they have to move somewhere, they have a job transfer, whatever it is. But you'll be able to find some deals right now. You're not going to have to go in over full price, and there might be some deals where you can go in significantly under asking price and get a good deal on a property right now. All right, so last tip, and this is for buyers and sellers. And this one's great for putting a deal together and just as important for keeping a deal together. So a lot of times we're seeing on home inspections that the buyer gets a home inspection and the home inspector is coming back and saying, you know, the AC is at the end of its useful life. It's a 30-year unit and it's working okay now, but it's probably going to break soon. And your buyer, as a buyer, your first instinct is to say, well, I want a credit for a whole new air conditioning system. And as a seller, the seller's going, well, if I had a brand new air conditioning system, wouldn't I be able to get more money for the house than I'm selling it to you for? So a good way to bridge this gap is, what if a seller were to pay to extend your home warranty for up to 3 years? You know, from the seller's perspective, you can get a home warranty for 3 years, pay for it for the buyer, usually under $2,000, $1,500, $2,000, somewhere in that range, depending on the size of the house and the options that you have. But you can get very good coverage for someone in that $1,500 to $2,000 range. As a buyer, you know you're protected for the first 3 years you own the home. If that AC breaks during that time, home warranty is going to pay to replace it. So you have that extra, just a little bit of, you know, feel good, if you will, that you have that time that if something goes wrong during that first 3 years, you're covered. And it covers everything too. You can get limited roof leak coverage. There's a lot of different coverages that you can get that'll be covered many of the systems of the home. So talk to your agent about that. But this is a really good strategy for sellers. I know it's tough to say, okay, let me peel off another $1,500 or $2,000. But when you have a buyer that's, you know, invested in the house, you're in escrow, do you really want to start over, you know, $1,500 or $2,000? And let me tell you, it's a lot cheaper than the $15,000 to completely replace the AC system. So these are just a couple of tips and strategies that are going to work in the coming market and that are working in this market. And make sure, lastly, I'll say, you know, make sure you have an agent that knows about these things. If you have an agent representing you, make sure you have an agent that knows about these things. This is one of the great benefits to working with the Pringle team. We have tons of experience. I've been doing this for 28 years. My mom was in the business for over 35 years. I've seen a lot. I won't say I've seen it all, because every time I think I've seen it all, something new comes up. But I've seen a lot, and I've been in a lot of different markets. I've been in up markets, I've been in down markets, and it's all just the market. You know, there's not a good market, a bad market. There are different markets, and you need to adjust to those different markets as buyers and sellers. So I would say, please make sure you have somebody that's representing you that knows what they're doing. And if you need some good representation, feel free to reach out to us. And if you like the information in this video, please smash that like button and give us a subscribe. We'd love to give you more tips in the future, and we have new content coming out every week, and we'd love to share it with you. Thanks again. Have a great day.